Our topic of discussion for today's lecture is interactions of the Earth spheres. Like we have studied before, that Earth has four major spheres, else we can make it distribute the Earth system as a whole into a four spheres of geosphere, like our Earth rocky part, that solid part, hydrosphere that containing all water in our form, atmosphere around you, and the atmosphere. So let's start with the all four spheres. If you see the interactions or the connection relation between the all spheres of Earth as a global system, if we take the whole Earth or the whole globe as a system, then the surface of the geosphere, like I have this already said, it's the solid part of our planet Earth. We see the planet Earth or the global, our world, our Earth system, or this whole ecosystem or environment all over the world. It is in contact at the same time with the hydrosphere, that is your water, that is your the biosphere, which comes as the fourth sphere, or as a whole can be said is the whole global system. But these are all interconnected like with the other sphere of atmosphere as well as the geosphere and lithosphere, you can say, and the atmosphere as well, and atmosphere. Biosphere make it sense like these all interacting forces are the basis for that cycle or many cycles that comes in that interaction processes that makes this in a dynamic phase. So actually the topic is about the interactions or the dynamics between these spheres, and how we will discuss in every or each sphere perspective. So the process that moves basically the energy and matter based interaction of these spheres, they can be called as the sphere interactions, are actually the interactions or relation of spheres to make each other in dynamic form or in a cycle form. So let's move towards the discussion part. How we will say that the Hertz pairs interact. We will exemplify or we will elaborate on the basis of every sphere perspective, possibly with the geosphere or the rocky part which we are recycled, and with the atmosphere in which actually the basis of energy and matter is recycling. If you see in the perspective of climatology or environment, I might have discussed that in this world or this whole sphere, the every process you see or every dynamic of this whole system, if you see, it's on the basis of energy and matter in all form, or you can say basically we studied like solid, liquid and gas, and the other forms like plasma. But in basic form, if we go for the energy, harnessing energy for this biosphere is the key to move this life on. And if you firstly start from that very geosphere, from the very biosphere in which we are residing, we can see here we need some kind of infrastructure or some kind of residing areas, residing materials, which comes from the geosphere. Like if here I have mentioned, we humans, simply to elaborate and exemplify, we built a dam out of rock materials that's come from the geosphere. Everything that comes from minerals, or you can say soil, sand, etc., etc., that comes from that very solid part of that whole global system, and that's your geosphere. Water in the lake, like from the ionosphere, seeps in that cliffs under that if we if we make them mount that dam. So it is the interacting part of here, like it's in the example, you can take any example of it or you can think about. But becoming in the groundwater in the geosphere again, if it seeps towards the rivers or toward the seas, and maybe evaporate or obviously evaporate if the sun energy, as I would discuss energy in matter interaction, it falls on that very water atmosphere, then it again go towards the atmosphere. That's in that part. If you see, the three interacting spheres are here being discussed in the simple example. Like first, if we in the biosphere, being a biosphere in humans, like live sphere, we built a dam from the geosphere interaction, and the water comes from the atmosphere anywhere else. And if we make them in one place to seep down or to use it in the other rivers, or you can say streams, or any canal system, and then become the groundwater after seepage or else evaporate. At that time the force sphere are interacting. Humans, you can say, unless actually energy, which I have discussed, like energy and matter, it's only solely the system of the energy and matter. From the water hydrosphere, if you see, to turn the turbines, or from geosphere, from metal ores to produce electricity, that's almost comes towards the geosphere and biosphere interaction. If we move towards the other sphere, or exemplify the other sphere step by step, so the plants, if we see, like I would say, the water to water the fields, from that very hydrosphere, and go towards the plant, that also comes with biosphere. The nutrients from geosphere are your soil, and then again the vapors are nitrification, you can say the other nitrogen cycle or carbon cycle or sulfur cycle, then these go towards the atmosphere. In that time also interaction of the four spheres. Humans use what machinery from the geosphere, humans like biosphere, to plow the fields, which also this geosphere, and then atmosphere brings precipitation in that form. You see, that's the hydrosphere as well, also the traction of atmosphere to water the plants, that almost the biosphere. Energy from the sun, that's the basis of energy and matter interaction. It is stored by plants, and then the humans eat the plants, and that's the interaction of biosphere and uh, geosphere, you can say, are both biospheres. They acquire the energy originally captured by plants, but humans expends energy as well in the that way, geosphere and biosphere, in buildings, that's also geosphere, and so on. These processes is in the form of cycle or phase or dynamics, that is elaborating all these what we have explained as an interactive system. How the earth systems can be same termed into the processes. The direction, all the direction that are the two or the three interactions that I have only exemplify here, I elaborated here. These are the process of earth system. If you take the earth as a system, as a whole, the current balance among these complex interactions make it possible for life to flourish, because I have said life to goes on, or these process to goes on, for to these process to go on, it needs to be in dynamic phase, which comes from the interaction of these spheres. Because if the spheres are all part of the same interconnected system, that is the earth systems. However, change in any sphere ultimately affect the other spheres. That's what I have said, they are interconnected, they affect each other, and obviously are in the loop. If one phenomenon is occurring, if one process is occurring, it obviously is are affecting at one time other, in one way or other. So in the perspective of a sphere, what we see, energy cycling and the earth's climate in a perspective or atmospheric aspect, that's the very basic that energy and matter interaction. If it goes towards the sun interaction, or it falls towards the that very geosphere, biosphere, or you can say hydrosphere as well, the very role which has been played by that atmosphere is very keen and very key. Without atmosphere, you can say there will be no life, there was no life, there will be no gas, there will be no interaction of our, you can say, precipitation, there will be no wind, or there will be no blah blah blah, etc. The main source of energy on that, obviously we know, is the sun, probably the biggest source of the, which is inexhaustible in one sense, but in another sense the scientists say this is also exhaustible, but after many of billion trillion so many years. Anyways, the key factors that determine the extent to which the sun energy reaches the earth, that can be on the basis of these following main factors. If the energy and matter interaction, or the energy and matter balance, is has been regulated, is being on the process of regulating, it's mostly and basically on the basis of the factor that the distance covered by the radiations, what can be the angle of the sun towards the earth, on which part of the sun it is been lying, its angle is been mentioned. If you see to the equatorial, or you can say tropical areas, you will experience more sun rays like in inclined farm. But if you go towards the polar areas, why they are like Antarctica or Arctic Circle, Why not Poland and South Pole? Why they are frozen all year round? So it's also because of the factor, because of the distance that covered by the radiation that falls on the equatorial or tropical areas may not be the same on that. May maybe their amplitude, their magnitude is not same like that falls on that equatorial tropical areas. So composition of atmosphere also matters. If we see, like, atmosphere is a very key role. Atmospheric composition, if there are many gases, assemblage and many gases are there, so they will interact or they will partly disturb that upcoming radiations, are either short waves or long wave radiation. So interaction of solar and cosmic radiations with gases, like I have said, the combination of gases in that are the distribution of gases above the geosphere or ionosphere or biosphere also matters. That's kind of a blanket. You better know about the troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, methosphere. So it all forming the earth sphere as a whole in the combination of gases, that's very atmosphere. Like here I have also simplified and shown elaborately near the picture is the reflected solar radiations, again entrapped by that to clouds, and some if passed such that will be this sun rays is such, but if the sun rays are being passed air, it means they are interrupted, and that's the combination of gases that is making effect on that very energy and matter cycle. So let's move towards the geosphere or the solid part. That's also lithosphere in geosphere perspective. Somewhere it's called also lithosphere and geosphere, you can say. Geo is said the solid part, geo earth, and litho, that lithosphere means solid rocky earth part. If we see in the minerals or sand or soil and many these things, they interact throughout the environment, are these very biosphere with which we are in the relation. Their pressure and temperatures might make them change, but after thousand or so many years to have been processed. Like if you see the rock cycle here I have mentioned, they are in contrast of dynamics. They also have of dynamics, but the dynamics are very slow. They are in the maybe in the form of geological process time. If something has been changed, you see the rocks are formed, but they are has been processed or being formed from the geological processes are many times have been passed to form like this stage. The minerals that play an active role in transformation of the composition, obviously which kind of rock it is, and properties of the earth crust, obviously the and at the end the geosphere or the lithosphere. This process, if you see, is actually the rock cycle. How many rocks will you observe around you, like a metamorphic, sedimentary, igneous, etc. And for stable minerals, it can last for many years, as I will discuss. If it takes the billion years, obviously it's also in the dynamics, but in their dynamics can't be observed so much easily as that easily. If you so here the weathering erosion is forming one rock into another sedimentary, their minerals obviously distribute and they form some kind of after process of weathering, and also the effect of heat and pressure making it the sedimentary, making contact. Then again if come to the metamorphic form or the ether pressure is applied, if it comes around the shelf of you can say the river or sea, it again forming the magma or the lava, and it comes to the earth in that lava form and solidify it, making the igneous rocks. Obviously after that again pressure, if the some billion or you can say humps may much year are passing, also can make it in cycle into that again the same sedimentary form of rocks. So anyways, it was about the rock or cycle. It is in lithosphere perspective how they are in dynamics. So let's move towards the very part of that very earth system, and that's the humans in ecosystem or human in that biosphere. What can be the biosphere aspect? It can be even elaborated in the whole so the chapter, but here I have elaborated, I have briefed it to the one presentation in one template in one slide. Why? Because even surpasses any other organism there are any biosphere or any system material or thing in their ability to influence ecosystems or the whole biosphere or the whole earth system. Why? Because the huge biological production of these ecosystems as they consider necessary, because they are in the part they can affecting and as well is also being impacted from the all the three other spheres with their actions, like humans are capable of sustaining if we use sustainably, are destroying the ecosystems, or all these systems are being disturbed from us, because if we go for the pollution or other kind of activities, you can imagine that how much we are wasting these energy and matter. But at the end we are giving something at the end to one system, or are we dividing one system or component of that very earth system or global earth system, or you can say the other spheres as well. Since the destruction of the biosphere would obviously bring the very existence of human beings to an end, or you can say in any very challenging form, like we are facing the global dynamics of that very climate change and also the global farming, the humans should be objectively obviously concerned with the sustainable development of ecosystems. I biosphere for biosphere, if they are directing in the whole farm with other spheres, so here is the point that these interacting farm dynamics cannot be challenged and can't be disturbed if we go to a sustainable way of living here in the biosphere and using all only solely the whole spheres. In your picture you can see the main on that very geosphere with the all the infrastructure of that geosphere or lithosphere with ardosphere is there. But if they are using not sustainably, the one end the biosphere can be disturbed or atmosphere will be disturbed, that's it. But if you go to the energy and matter, atmosphere can be disturbed from the pollution as well. And if you are not investing the other materials, like if we go for the lithosphere minerals, obviously it will be disturbed and the whole system will be automatically in one way or other disturbed. So that was a little and more about rate of interactions of the earth systems. Hopefully we will come with other topics in the same relation or the same chapter forward.